I was scrolling through my phone on a Thursday night when I saw it. Hannah's wedding announcement. My ex-wife married 6 months after our divorce was finalized. The photo showed her in a white dress, standing next to Jack, the family friend who was always just helping her through our rough patch. That's what she told me anyway. The wedding looked expensive, perfect, everything she said she never wanted with me. But something stopped me cold. In one candid shot, someone caught Hannah off guard. Her smile was frozen plastic. Her eyes held something I recognized from our worst fights. Fear. Pure, undiluted fear. Then I saw her wrist. The bouquet almost covered it, but there was bruising, dark purple against her pale skin. My stomach dropped. Something was very, very wrong. I couldn't stop thinking about that photo, so my mind went back to our divorce. Hannah had changed during our last year together. She became cold, critical, always saying I wasn't ambitious enough. I was an engineer with a stable job, good benefits, a decent life. But it wasn't enough for her anymore. She wanted more money, more excitement, more status. Jack appeared about 6 months before she filed for divorce. He was wealthy, charming, always showing up with expensive gifts and smooth words. When I suggested something was going on, Hannah made me feel crazy. She said I was paranoid, insecure, controlling. The divorce destroyed me. She took half of everything, including the house my late father helped me buy. His final gift to me gone. 3 days after seeing the wedding photos, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. She made a mistake. You were the safe choice. Now she has no choice at all. My hands shook as I opened the attachment. It was another photo of Hannah and Jack at a restaurant. Her face was completely blank, like a mask. Under the table, Jack's hand gripped her thigh, his fingers digging in with visible pressure. The angle suggested someone close by had taken it. Someone who wanted me to see. I stared at that image for an hour. Every instinct screamed that this was a cry for help. But from who? And why send it to me? I tried calling the number back. It went straight to voicemail with no greeting. I saved the photo anyway. 2 days later, my phone rang. Maya, Hannah's younger sister. We'd always gotten along well, even after the divorce. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Ethan, I shouldn't be calling you, but I don't know what else to do. She took a shaky breath. Jack won't let Hannah see us anymore. He says we're negative influences. She's not allowed to work. He tracks her phone constantly. I think she's in real trouble, but she won't admit it. Maya explained that Hannah was completely isolated now. No friends, no family visits, no access to money. I saw her last week. She looked terrified, Ethan. This isn't the sister I know. Before hanging up, Maya whispered, I think she realized she made a terrible mistake. I couldn't let it go, so I started researching Jack. On the surface, he seemed perfect. VP at a major pharmaceutical company, wealthy, respected. But I had connections through my engineering network, and I started asking questions. What I found made my blood run cold. Jack's first marriage ended with a restraining order that had been mysteriously sealed by a judge. His second engagement fell apart suddenly, and the woman vanished from social media entirely. I found a pattern across 3 relationships. Jack targeted successful, independent women. Then he systematically broke them down. One former coworker told me off the record. Jack likes control. The more successful the woman, the more he enjoys destroying her. I felt sick. Hannah had walked straight into a trap. The following Saturday, I went to the grocery store near Hannah's old neighborhood. I didn't expect to see her, but there she was in the produce section. She wore an expensive dress and heels for grocery shopping, moving carefully like every step hurt. When she saw me, she froze completely. Her makeup was thick, but I could still see the yellowing bruise on her temple. Ethan, you have to go, she whispered urgently, glancing around like Jack might appear. If he sees you, talk to me. Her hands trembled as she reached for an apple. She dropped it, and when I bent to help, she pressed a folded receipt into my palm. Please, she breathed, then rushed away with her cart. I waited until I reached my car to unfold the receipt. On the back, in shaky handwriting, "Help me. He's watching everything." Monday morning, I called Rachel, my divorce attorney. She listened to everything, then sighed heavily. "Ethan, if Hannah won't testify or press charges, there's nothing we can legally do. But honestly, stay away from this. Jack has serious connections, political, legal, and financial. Men like him destroy people who interfere." She told me about a journalist who investigated Jack's business practices. The man ended up facing fabricated fraud charges that ruined his career. "Jack plays dirty, and he plays to win," Rachel warned. But I couldn't walk away. Hannah might have hurt me badly during our divorce, but nobody deserved what Jack was doing to her. I thanked Rachel and hung up, already planning my next move. If the law couldn't help yet, I needed evidence. That afternoon, I got an email notification. It was from Hannah's old work account, the one from her marketing executive days. The subject line was blank. Inside was a link to a shared Google Doc, the only access. My heart pounded as I opened it. Hannah was documenting everything in real time. Financial control, every dollar monitored. Emotional abuse, the insults and threats. Physical intimidation, though she was careful with her wording. She'd included dates, times, and details about a prenup Jack pressured her to sign. If she left, she got nothing. The document updated while I watched. New text appeared. "Can't reach out directly. He monitors everything. If you're reading this, Ethan, I'm sorry. You tried to warn me. Please don't give up on me." I saved the link and promised myself I wouldn't. A week later, mutual acquaintances posted photos from a charity gala. There they were, Jack and Hannah, the perfect power couple. Jack looked charming in his tuxedo, laughing with city officials and business leaders. Hannah stood beside him in a stunning gown, smiling on cue like a trained performer. I zoomed in on every photo. She never spoke unless Jack prompted her. She flinched slightly when he touched her back. Her eyes were completely dead, like someone had turned off the lights inside her. The comments made me angry. "Couple goals. True love. She's so lucky." Nobody saw what I saw. Nobody noticed the woman I once knew was gone, replaced by a beautiful, terrified shell. I screenshotted everything, adding it to my growing file. I called in a favor from my friend Luke, a forensic accountant. He owed me for helping design his home's security system. "This stays between us," I told him, handing over what I knew about Jack's finances. Luke dug deep. What he found was shocking. Jack was drowning in debt, mortgaged beyond his means, desperately maintaining a lifestyle he couldn't afford. The pharmaceutical company was quietly investigating him for embezzlement. Here's what made me sick: Hannah's divorce settlement, her half of my father's house and all her savings, had transferred into Jack's accounts within weeks of their wedding. Every penny she had was gone, absorbed into his financial black hole. "Ethan," Luke said seriously, "this guy is about to implode. When he does, he'll take her down with him unless she gets out now." Here's the continuation with the new names. Maya contacted me again, this time through a new phone number. "He found out I called you before. He threatened to cut Hannah off completely if I contacted her again." Her voice shook. "But I managed one supervised visit. Jack watched us the whole time, but Hannah slipped me a birthday card. There was a note inside." Maya read it to me. "He said if I leave, he'll destroy my reputation. He has recordings of me crying, edited to sound insane. He's shown me what he did to Sarah. I'm so scared." Sarah. That was the name of Jack's previous fiancée, the one who disappeared from social media. "Maya," I said carefully, "I need you to trust me. Can you forward me everything Hannah gives you?" She agreed immediately. "Save my sister, Ethan. Please." I hired a private investigator named Christine who specialized in domestic abuse cases. She was expensive but came highly recommended. Within 1 week, she had evidence that made me want to throw up. Jack had installed spyware on all of Hannah's devices, her phone, laptop, even her tablet. Hidden cameras throughout their house captured her every move. GPS trackers on her car monitored everywhere she went. "He's created a digital prison," Christine explained, showing me the technical reports. "This level of surveillance is illegal, but getting a warrant requires Hannah's cooperation." Then Christine found something else. Sarah, Jack's ex-fiancée, was alive and living in another state under a different name. "She agreed to talk to us," Christine said. "But she's still terrified, even 3 years later." We met Sarah at a quiet diner 2 states away. She was thin, nervous, constantly watching the door. When Christine explained that Hannah was trapped like she'd been, Sarah started crying. "I tried to warn people, but Jack's lawyer buried me in motions and countersuits until I couldn't afford to fight anymore. He destroyed my career, my reputation, everything." Sarah told us how Jack isolated her, controlled every aspect of her life, threatened to ruin her professionally if she left. He followed through. She worked retail now under an assumed name, still looking over her shoulder. "He told me no one would ever believe me over him. He was right." As we left, Sarah grabbed my arm. "Tell Hannah I'm sorry I couldn't stop him. Tell her to run before it's too late." I attended a pharmaceutical conference where Jack was speaking on an innovation panel. I sat in the back, recording on my phone. During the Q&A session, someone asked about his company's internal investigation. Jack's perfect mask cracked. For just a moment, his smile twisted into a snarl, his voice sharp and threatening before he caught himself and recovered. Later at the networking reception, I watched from a distance as Jack berated a young waitress. She'd spilled water near his shoes. He got in her face, speaking quietly but intensely enough that she started crying. Security had to intervene. The man was unraveling, his control slipping. That meant Hannah was in more danger. Cornered animals were unpredictable. I needed to move faster. Hannah updated the shared document that night with explosive new information. She'd found bank statements, emails, and contracts hidden in Jack's home office. He'd been embezzling from his pharmaceutical company for 2 years, using shell corporations to hide millions. She was photographing everything with an old digital camera he didn't know about. But her final entry made my heart stop. "He's getting paranoid. He accused me of snooping through his office. He pushed me against the wall and told me if I ever betrayed him, I'd regret it. I don't know how much time I have. The camera is hidden, but if he finds it, I don't know what he'll do. Ethan, if you're reading this, I'm scared. Really scared." I immediately called Christine and Rachel. We needed to act soon. My phone rang at 2:30 in the morning. Maya, hysterical. "Ethan, Hannah's here. She showed up at my apartment with a split lip and blood on her dress. Jack's at some business dinner, but he'll be home soon. She's terrified, saying she can't go back, that she'd rather die." I could hear Hannah sobbing in the background. "Maya, listen carefully. Lock your doors. Don't let her leave. I'm calling people who can help." I contacted Christine and Rachel immediately, then drove to Maya's apartment. When I arrived, Hannah was curled on the couch, shaking violently. When she saw me, she broke down completely. "You were right about everything. I destroyed my life for a monster. I'm so sorry, Ethan." I knelt beside her. "We're getting you out. Tonight." Christine arranged for Hannah to enter a domestic violence shelter with enhanced security protocols. Jack had money and connections, so we couldn't take chances. Hannah clutched a USB drive with all her evidence, the photos of documents, recordings, everything. At the shelter, she finally opened up to me. "He told me you were weak, that I deserved better. He made me believe I was too good for ordinary happiness. He said excitement and passion were worth any price." Her voice broke. "Now I have nothing. No job, no money, no dignity. He took everything and made me thank him for it." I held her hand carefully. "You're alive, Hannah. That's what matters. Everything else, we can fix." She nodded, but her eyes showed she didn't quite believe it yet. Rachel moved fast. She filed for an emergency restraining order, submitting mountains of evidence: photos of Hannah's injuries, financial records proving coercive control, testimony from Sarah, Christine's surveillance reports, and recordings of Jack's threats. The judge reviewed everything and granted the order immediately. At the same time, Rachel anonymously tipped the FBI and SEC about Jack's embezzlement. Hannah's photographs and documents were thorough enough to launch a formal investigation. Jack was blindsided at his office, served with legal papers in front of his colleagues. According to Christine's sources, he went pale, then red, then started screaming at the process server. Security had to escort him out. The war had officially begun, and we'd landed the first major blow. Jack hired a vicious legal team and declared war. He filed motions claiming Hannah was mentally unstable, submitting the edited recordings he'd threatened her with. They showed her crying, begging, but edited to remove all context. He accused me of stalking and alienation of affection. Then he went to the press. Local news ran stories about a prominent businessman whose unstable wife was being manipulated by her bitter ex-husband. My employer received complaint calls. My neighbors started looking at me differently. Jack's smear campaign was sophisticated and brutal. Rachel warned me it would get worse. He's trying to intimidate you into backing off. Men like Jack can't handle losing, especially to someone they see as beneath them. Stay strong. I gritted my teeth and kept fighting. Then everything changed. Jack's executive assistant, Monica, contacted Christine directly. I've worked for him for 5 years. I've watched him destroy 3 women, and I can't stay silent anymore. Monica provided everything: emails proving Jack's surveillance of Hannah, calendar entries showing his systematic isolation tactics, proof he fabricated the recordings of Hannah's instability, and detailed evidence of his embezzlement scheme. She handed over financial documents showing Jack had stolen over $2 million. I have daughters, Monica told us during our meeting. I won't be complicit in this abuse anymore. I don't care if it costs me my career. Monica's testimony was the breakthrough we desperately needed. With an insider's evidence, Jack's entire defense began to crumble. Rachel smiled for the first time in weeks. We've got him. The FBI raided Jack's office and home simultaneously. News cameras caught everything: federal agents carrying boxes of evidence, Jack being led out in handcuffs. The embezzlement investigation went public. $2.3 million stolen over 2 years. Security footage showed Jack installing spyware on Hannah's devices. His lawyer quit immediately. Jack's prominent family released a carefully worded statement about supporting him through false accusations, but I noticed his father, a respected judge, said nothing publicly. Jack made bail within hours, but his mugshot was everywhere online. That same night, he violated the restraining order by showing up at Maya's apartment, pounding on the door and screaming threats. Maya called the police. Jack was arrested again. This time, bail was denied. He'd finally gone too far. The restraining order hearing became a full trial. Sarah flew in to testify, describing her ordeal with shaking hands but clear determination. Maya testified about watching her confident sister transform into a terrified ghost. Monica provided corporate evidence and testimony about Jack's calculated abuse. Christine presented surveillance reports and technical proof of his illegal monitoring. Then Hannah took the stand. She was pale and thin, but her voice was steady. She described months of psychological torture, financial control, and escalating violence. Jack's lawyer tried painting her as a gold digger who regretted a bad marriage. Rachel destroyed him with financial records proving Hannah actually funded Jack's lifestyle, while he stole from his company. The courtroom was silent except for Hannah's quiet, devastating testimony. Even the judge looked shaken. The judge didn't need long to decide. He granted a permanent restraining order and declared the marriage annulled, voided as if it never existed. Jack's prenup was thrown out due to coercion and duress. Hannah was entitled to recover every asset Jack had consumed, which meant liens on his property and garnishment of any future income. The criminal embezzlement trial was scheduled for 6 months later. Jack's company fired him immediately. His professional reputation was obliterated overnight. Outside the courthouse, Jack spotted me standing with Hannah's legal team. His face twisted with rage. "You poisoned her against me," he snarled. "We were perfect until you interfered." I met his eyes calmly. "No, Jack. You showed her exactly who you were. I just helped her escape." Security escorted him away, still screaming threats that only made his situation worse. 6 months passed. Hannah moved in with Maya while searching for her own apartment. She started therapy, attending sessions twice a week to process everything. Slowly, carefully, she reconnected with friends Jack had forced her to abandon. Her former employer, after learning what happened, offered her old marketing position back. She accepted. One evening, Hannah asked to meet me for coffee. It was her idea. We sat in a quiet cafe, and she looked healthier, stronger, more like the woman I'd married years ago. "Ethan, I owe you an apology. A real one." Her eyes filled with tears. "You were stable, kind, real. I thought I wanted excitement and passion. I was so stupid. I almost died chasing something that was never real." I listened quietly. "I'm not here to get back together," I said gently. "I'm glad you're safe, but we're different people now." She nodded, understanding. "I know. I just needed you to know I'm sorry, and I'm grateful." A year later, Jack was convicted of embezzlement and sentenced to 7 years in prison. Hannah and Sarah both gave victim impact statements at sentencing. Their testimony helped other women come forward. Jack had a pattern spanning over a decade, more victims than anyone initially realized. Hannah rebuilt her entire life. She bought her own condo, got promoted at work, and started dating someone new. She introduced him to Maya and me with genuine happiness in her eyes. I'd moved on too, eventually meeting someone who appreciated what I had to offer. One afternoon, my phone buzzed with a message from Hannah. It was a photo of her on a hiking trail, windblown and genuinely smiling. The caption read, "Thank you for seeing what I couldn't. I'm finally free." I smiled, closed the message, and continued with my day. The perfect man had been a monster in disguise. The boring, stable man had done the right thing when it mattered most. Justice took time, but it finally came. And sometimes that's enough.